Tuesday. I'm here and I'm in the mountains, right? But I've decided I don't want to stay low on the hips and attack. I want to scoot myself forward and really put myself over his chest and attack. So first thing we're going to do is I'm going to look to get my knees under his elbows. A couple ways you can do this. When I'm in the gi, I'm going to reach for collars or just simply start moving my hands around his neck because that naturally will bring his arms up in defense. No gi, you can still kind of work for some choking stuff, but see how I'm manipulating arms? What that'll allow me to do is then scoot up, driving basically my cup right over his solar plexus. Alright? Now, once I get here, I have to pick a side, whichever side I'm more hip flexible comfortable. This is my right side. My left hip is basically for decoration. It doesn't work right. So I'm going to lean a little to my left side, posting my hand and picking his head. Here. As soon as I do that, my leg's going to come out, around, and under. Here. I want my foot basically touching my knee on this side. Now as I'm here, I'm going to sit over my chest, squeezing in. This is S-mount. Very nice position. For those of you who've been around Indiana Jiu-Jitsu for long enough, you remember that the position is the submission. Alright? Once you get here, the options bar gets pretty nice. First thing we're going to do is attack this top arm, just assuming he doesn't do the right things to protect himself. So all we're going to do, I'm going to reach over and hook at the wrist. This becomes very important, especially when you don't have pajamas to grab a hold of and all that friction to hold in. You've got to attach this tight to your chest here. I like to attach at the wrist, and I'll actually reach up and start extending his arm straight. Then all we're going to do, step our leg over the face, bench, pull up. I'm finishing this from top. You can sit off and finish this arm bar in a more traditional sense. The reason I like to stay up top and finish this way, it's a lot more secure, and if I start to lose his arm, I can sit back to S-mount, where remounting once you set off to the side is a little bit harder. Couple details we were missing Tuesday. A lot of us were trying to hit this by staying centered on his chest. I want to rotate off to that 45 where my cup's in line with his elbow. That allows me then to arch in and pull this elbow through. The other thing we were doing is we were hooking at the elbow and hoping this would work out. Remember guys, I fight him on the end of that fulcrum. Is that the right science word, right? Fulcrum. I fight at the end of this. By attaching that here, that allows me better leverage to pull. Alright? So we're here, we're in. That is a very controlling the head of the snake. I like that. Benefits of having two black belts laying around. Alright? So we're here. Colby's protecting himself in mount because he's not an idiot. Right? So I'm here, I start manipulating, and I get my knees up as high as I can. I will actually scoop his bald spot and use that to scoop me up. Alright? Now I'm going to lean off to that side just a little bit and come up. The biggest thing is that has to be a pretty quick motion because you're off balance for about a half a second. So you got to get back, keeping that weight on his chest. Alright? And I'm actively engaging my thighs to squeeze here. Not comfortable, but not bad, right? Uncomfortable. That's what we're going for. Remember, you need more enemies in life. This is a great way to get them. As I'm here, I come off to that side that little bit to attack that top side arm. Questions on this? Alright, driller out, S-mount, top side arm bar. Whoa, so I'm here. I get into position right, and I get into S-mount. And let's work under the assumption that Colby doesn't always suck at jiu-jitsu, just most of the time, right? So he's going to start defending his arms. He's going to start protecting his neck, wrapping his arms up, and start moving a little bit. So I had a question on, okay, he's going to start moving and trying to get his shoulders over my leg, and how do I keep people from getting out? Realize if they get too squirmy here, do two things that'll shut it down real quick. One, pinch, two, lift the head. Because now if Colby goes to move, he can move. He's not going anywhere in a meaningful way anytime soon. So if you feel like you get to S-mount and they do the kind of freak out, I'm going to move and go somewhere, pick their head up off the mat because they're going to be posting their head. Squeeze here and settle in for a second. They'll stop eventually. Now, let's say Colby doesn't suck here. So all we're going to do, instead of trying to unpack his arms and get real complicated and all this, all I'm going to do is scoot back just a little bit. As I do, I'm going to pull his arms forward. Then, who remembers the old commercials that shit out of V8? I'm going to thump his forehead. Not hard, but just enough to get it flat. As soon as that happens, my shin bone's going to come right under his chin. Here. Now all we're going to do, drive this knee to the mat, weight over the top. Now, he's going to do one of a couple things. One is start to move my feet, and that's fine. You can pull his head into it. Two, he's going to try to duck his chin down and go. Great, break his jaw. Perfectly legal in every competition we go to. They turn their jaw into a choke, and you keep squeezing and their jaw breaks. That's not my fault, that's your problem. Alright? Now, most of the time, it's going to be somewhere in between a choke and a jaw crush. You just have to lean into it. So we're here, we're in S-mount. He starts moving and doing stuff. I don't like it. Okay. Bring that chin in front. And if you want to move his neck up to where he will move, I recommend a thumb right under the nose. That'll get him to move real quick. Questions on that? I said it's a go-go quad up. Most of you guys are going to be more familiar with this from the bottom, coming over the top of that shoulder and doing it. I don't like that version just because I've never seen it work consistently at a high level. This does, though. It's a much more effective, much more secure choke. Questions on this before I walk through it one more time? Yeah. So I cannot stick my finger in your nose, but I refer to it as the Hitler stash. If I rub right under your nose, there's a whole bunch of nerve endings right here. Your nose will naturally pop up just as a defensive mechanism. So I'm going to do that to pop your chin up. So I'm here, we're moving, he packs his arms up, pop, up. Now I'm here, I can pop his chin manually, I can do other things, but that's one of the easier ones to do. Alright, questions? So what you gotta realize is that's a quick one. So I'm not, this isn't one of those like, oh hey, I'm gonna lollygag and get there. This is my leg goes from out, up, and over. So if, let's say we're in competition and I don't like Colby, right? I'm gonna do it over here. His head's right here, right? And I need this to come out and do it. I'm gonna pop his head. I'm bringing that down with a little bit of so to speak. Because I don't want him to have time to move and react and do all that crap. I want to be able to pop my shin out and around, drop it straight into his throat, lean over, pull.
You can always drag it in front of their face too.
Another option. Other questions on that? Alrighty, 1, 2, 3. So we're here. A couple details I want to go off of. So when I come up here and I scoot up and I come off here, I want to keep as much of my weight on him as I can. So when I'm here, I'm not popping myself up to come to S-mount. When I'm here, I'm keeping my hips and my weight as low as I can and keeping to where I can keep all that pressure centered on his chest. And whenever I come off of his chest, I want to keep as much of that weight on as possible. I'm not trying, at no point in any of these is a lot of my weight leaving him. Even in the arm bar, a lot of my weight is now, instead of just being on his chest, is behind his elbow. So keep as much of your, once you get to S-mount, guys, the only way you should leave S-mount is by your choice. Like, Colby should be able to get me out of S-mount if I'm doing it. Once you get here, if your weight's right and everything's where it's supposed to be, shouldn't be able to get you all 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 times. Okay? Alright, so now we're here, and I'm going to assume Colby doesn't suck at jiu-jitsu again. Well, let's say I'm not as confident in myself to go for that go-go plot, right? It's a difficult, high-skill move in a tough position, alright? Alright, so I'm here. Unpacking his arms to get this bottom arm, it's going to be very tough. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this hand in between and try to go like I'm reaching for his shoulder. When you don't have the pajamas, it's a little easier to kind of get sneaky with these arms here. And he's going to think I'm still looking to attack this arm. And all I'm going to do is go elbow to elbow and wrap his arm around my waist. My hand goes down, out, and around. And I attach this as close to my hip as I can. Now, once I'm here, my elbow is going to attach to his wrist, my wrist is going to attach to his elbow. So we're kind of in this mirrored position. Once we get here, guys, all I'm going to do is pull it in tight, turn. Pull. So I'm turning into the head. As I'm doing that, locking it. So, we're here. So we get to S mount. Trying to get this arm out, don't like what's happening. Here, I'm going to grab that shoulder more as a bait so that he moves this arm. Wrap that arm up. Here. Now, you have two options. One, you can now unpack the arms. That is available. But me, I like to go here. You can either attack that or your dead wrist lock here as well. Okay, we're all villains here. Questions on this core lock? No, that's all considered mount. So once I get to mount, that's mount. The combat mount, half-back mount, all the various forms of mount you can grab. Mount is mount. That's that. But 4 points to get here, pretty good hit. So,
As the time reset, like you go to mount and you have it in the time.
no, they'll generally be counted as still mounted. Now, if he bugs me off, I get the side control and reset over, then yes. But as long as I stay in a general mount position, we're going to count that. Any other questions on that? We'll walk through it one more time. I'm here low, I scoop myself up. Lean over, keep as much of my weight on him as I can. Try to attack the arm, it doesn't work. My right hand slips in. Attacks at that elbow. Once I get this arm here, guys, he's gonna realize he's in quite a bit of trouble and try to start doing stuff. There's gonna be other options of sneaky little arm stuff you can do. But realize, either attack the Kimura lock, wrist lock, or this arm. Those are gonna be your three sets. I'm always gonna pull. Questions on that? Drill it out. 1, 2. We're scratching the surface with S mount as far as what is available and what's not. Realize once I get here, you should be able to find something to finish the fight, whether it's one of the various armbar or choking options. But realize we're going to spend some more time in here. We're going to work defensive stuff next week as far as, okay, you done fucked up AA, Ron. How do we work our way out of here without getting our arms ripped off? But last one, once I'm here, guys, generally I'm going to stay on top as much as I can. The only option that I'm not going to is if I lose this arm. Okay? So like if I'm going to do something and he somehow scoots this arm out. Now realize, white belt jiu-jitsu rules still apply. If you're in between my hips, both hands in, both hands out. So if I'm here, and he starts to drop this elbow out, and he's starting to get that, great. All we're going to do is finish a mounted triangle. Boom. This leg goes right to where it was. Here. Now, I'm going to lean and cross. Now, once I get here, all I'm doing, turning my chest and my hips, here, and I always like to put this hand on the far side hip and squeeze. Alright, so we're here. But once you start going into S mount, a lot of guys are going to start to drop that elbow to try to keep out of this. They're going to, arm defense instinct here. Great. All you're going to do, stuff that and come up to it. Once I'm here, the only thing you got to do is make sure he can't shoot out from underneath you. So you got to keep your chest kind of low on him. But once I'm here, tuck the arm across, lean. Goes to here. Still not locking on my foot because I'm actually straight ankle locking myself. It's really uncomfortable. You want to make sure you get that foot all the way through. And you can actually push with your knee to get that while you're on top. Now, once you're here, you can roll to your back and finish this at your length too. Once I get top position, I stay here. Same principle still apply. I would hook this leg if I was on my back. So if I'm here and I'm locked in, I'm still turning the same way I would if I was in a triangle here, guys. Same concept still applies, whether I'm here or here. Alright?
So if we're doing a nice triangle roll to those points, we get points.
Generally, no. Because the general rule of thumb with a sweep. Now, this is different for tournaments who allow for reversal. So, if you go to the rules meeting, which I always recommend if you're not familiar with the rules, the general ruling is I have to go from bottom to top with some sort of usage of feet and legs. That's generally the way they explain what a sweep is. Which that's two. But some tournaments will allow for a reversal, where I body lock and roll or something like that, where it's not a leg, where I'm not using my legs to sweep you, but I actively got from bottom to top, they'll give it. That's what, 25% of tournaments have that. It's a pretty rare rule, but still one that does exist. But 9 times out of 10, no, you're not giving up points.
If you lose your triangle, you wind up.
Yeah, there's times where you might, but like I said, finish your fucking triangle, life works out pretty well. So, in all else fails, if you think you're going to lose the triangle by going to your back, lose the triangle on top. I'd much rather you lose the triangle, end up in a weird mountain situation, and reset, than roll to your back. Make sense? But that's a tactical choice at that point. If you think, hey, I got this triangle 90% of the way in, and all I need to do is fall to my back to be able to pull the head or do something. Most of that stuff you can still do from top, but at times you may not have what you need. Okay? So I'm here with Colby. So I'm here, I get here, and for whatever reason, he starts escaping this arm. That'll be one of the more common escapes you'll see is guys who start trying to elbow escape here. Help him. Once you get here, and it's all just locked, finishing a traditional triangle, just like you would. Cut your ankle, hold the head here. Or, if you're a real dick, you can break the arm. Wow. Remember, options 2. So, questions on that S-mount triangle? Alright, drill her out. 1,